It's really easy for me. It's really easy for me with music to fall into ruts, and there's joy in the house of the Lord is one of my favorite ways to open the morning. I mean, I just love coming in here, and you're all interacting, connecting. There's truly a great sense of joy as we gather together today. It's been a little bit different week for me. On Wednesday evening, my mom and dad pulled into town, so they've been with us all week long, and it really different. You know, my dad just turned 90 in July. My mom is 83, so having them around has been fun. Yeah, and one of the things that's happened with them is they were always a little hard of hearing, but they become harder of hearing, much harder of hearing. And so it's been really loud around our house this week. So today I'm just going to talk really quietly, kind of de-stress a little bit. That's been an interesting twist. Just really really fun to be with them. And then yesterday, one of the great rites of fall in the Papp family is heading over to that Shanahan Invitational.
Yep.
Going all the way back to when you were a kid running that. And I don't know why. It's like God always, the temperature was too much, okay? But God always gives us like the same beautiful lighting on that day. You get over there and the trees are turning and the light is just right. The temperature was a little touch warm. I'm amazed they did as well as they did for as warm as it was.
Honestly, unbelievable. Yeah, watching, it was funny. So after a big invite like that, you know, coaches and people hang back and they're cleaning up. And there were some guys that came through to go disc golfing because they got a disc golf course there at Community Park. And they're like, finally we can get out. All these stupid junior hires are done running their race. I was like, hey, they're not stupid, they're fast. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're saying stupid for running in this heat. I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't think that's what you meant, but sure, okay.
And your gang did okay, huh?
They did okay, yeah. I kind of kept telling them that hey, you got to go out there and earn it. I don't know what to tell you. You know, they're not gonna hand it to you. And yeah, our boys took home a win, which is fun. And then the Minooka girls, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Is that the most kids from one team that have ever won that? I mean, it was
Maybe.
Like, it was a sea of blue.
It was
nuts.
It's so awesome knowing that they're going to be future teammates at the high school. But yeah, I have to read off all the names at the end of the race because the kids come up in the top 20, get a medal, and then they get team trophies. And there was a stretch where 13 out of the 15 at the top, I didn't even have to say, Minooka, 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 Minooka. And it's hilarious, too, because while I can pronounce Minooka, all of the names that they hand me, I'm like, oh, this is going to be trouble. So half the fun for the people in the crowd is listening to how badly I butcher these names. And the kids will come up, and they're like, that wasn't close. I was like...
But you say it with gusto and confidence.
Yeah,
I mean, you do it like you know it.
If you're going to be wrong, be confidently wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just a beautiful day. I love that piece of fall is always it's an amazing part. So, and then today, October 5th, is a special day in the life of Brian. Why is that?
Because it's Riley's birthday.
Right.
Yep.
God gave you the greatest gift of your life right there. So.
Yeah, and because she's not in the room, I can say this safely, I think. This begins the window from her birthday to my birthday where I can make fun of her for being older than me.
I know. We both did the same thing. Yeah. We married women 3 months older than us just to be able for 3 months to say, what's it like to be a geezer? What can I anticipate when I'm your age? What's it going to feel like?
Yeah, hey, you need help walking up the stairs? I got you. Her smacks in the back of my head are getting harder, so I need to watch it.
Oh, it's good stuff. The update went out, and volleyball started this week, so they love Friday nights, having a blast with that. You don't have to be like a pro player to come out and play. It really is just they play seriously, but they play fun. So if you're looking for a way to connect and you love that kind of activity, feel free to head out to volleyball on Sunday nights. Is there anything else you wanted to highlight, student-wise or anything?
Friday. What? Yeah. Friday.
Friday?
Friday nights.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a week.
Words are hard.
Right. It's been a week.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do that Sunday or Friday instead. Sunday, we have a lot of kids here.
One of the days of the week.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah.
So since you have nothing else to add, what I'd like to do is spend some time initially reading the first chapter of Ecclesiastes. When we moved out of the old building just prior, a few weeks before, I knew that we needed a good mindset for what was ahead because we really didn't know what was ahead. We knew we were moving to a school. We didn't know how long we'd be there. We didn't know what the journey was going to be like at all. And so there's a sermon which I talked about David going down to that creek to get 5 smooth stones for the slaying of Goliath. And fortunately, he only needed 1. It only took 1. Boom, it was done. But we had all 5. And they were labeled faithful, flexible, focused, fearless, and fun. And they were actually Shanahan potatoes. I don't know if you've seen our rocks around here, but it looks like you boil them up and eat them. So anyway, faithful, flexible, focused, fearless, and fun. He said, as we set out on this journey, people talk about success all the time. True success is being faithful, just being faithful to the end. Well done, good and faithful servant. Focused, making sure that we keep our eyes on the mission as well as our eyes on what God has called us to do here in this moment. Fearless. There is always reason to be fearful. Always. I'm sure there are people this morning that woke up for church and thought, do I go to church today? Is something bad going to happen based on what happened last week, in yet another church? And yet, God calls us to do something. We need to be willing to stand up to giants. And then fun, just being able to enjoying the journey. But the one that I lean into the most is flexible, because I think it is the thing that we all tend to be the least. When we get used to something, we like it the way it is, we like the routine. You change something, what are you doing? You've spilled my apple cart, don't do that. And what I love about Southfield is that we really have taken on that spirit of flexibility. So last Sunday when I say, hey, I know we're in a series on Ecclesiastes, but we're putting it aside this week to spend some time talking about praying and praying. There wasn't an uproar of people walking out the door or anything like that, emails all week. There's just that willingness to be flexible, to take what God brings us in the moment. So we're headed back to Ecclesiastes today to look at chapter 1. Would you like to just do that yourself instead of me taking you there? So this is all of chapter 1.
The words of the teacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. What has been will be again, and what has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. No one remembers the former generations. Even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. I, the teacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I've seen all things that are done under the sun, and all of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened, and what is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, look, I've increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I've experienced much of wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom, and also of the madness and folly, but I learned that this too is a chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief.
Amen. Father God, like the psalmist, we love your word. We love it. We love opening it. We love reading it, understanding it, and living it. And today we go to a book that on the surface we wonder what in the world the teacher is saying. It seems confusing, it seems depressing. And yet there is a message embedded in here that every one of us not only needs to hear, but we need to live. And so I pray that as we dive into this first chapter of this book, that you would not only give us understanding, but that you would give us a heart that is soft and ready to change and grow in whatever way you desire. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So we've been talking about introducing this book of Ecclesiastes. And I believe it was written by King Solomon. That's been the traditional understanding of the writer. He never identifies himself, though, by name. He calls himself the teacher. He calls himself Kohelet. That's actually the Hebrew word for teacher or preacher. So he's the one declaring this message to us, and we get some understanding from him. He's written other parts of the Bible, too. He's written all of these Proverbs. A whole bunch of the book of Proverbs is written by Solomon. And in Proverbs, he's explaining, this is the way life usually works. This is how things usually happen. And I think then he comes to Ecclesiastes and says, and here's the other side. Here's the other part of the mess. This is the way things can work as well. So he walks through in Ecclesiastes a handful of words and phrases that we need to understand in order to really grasp the fullness of the meaning of the book. And we looked at that 2 weeks ago. We looked at the word vanity or meaningless and ripped into that, because if you don't understand that word, the meaning of this book is going to be lost on you. And then that idea of chasing after the wind or striving after the wind and nothing new under the sun. I'm not going to review all of those every week, but it's important for us to understand that, life is just this constant chasing, never quite getting there in his mind. And under the sun refers to life here, earthbound life, apart from a thought, a reality, a vision of who God is and how he interacts with the things of this world. So if we only live an earthbound life, we're going to have a very different view than if we have a true heavenly mindset. So if this is Solomon, and again, I believe it is, Solomon was known to be the wisest man, the wisest king that lived in his time. Incredible wisdom, because it was wisdom given to him as a gift straight from God. And so he gets this infusion of wisdom. And I don't know about you, on top of that, he has this wisdom. He has an incredible relationship with God, we saw at the beginning of his life. But then his heart just strays. It wanders. It goes to the point that he is pursuing and following false gods and basically just detaches from God altogether. I think that his experiences, both his wisdom as well as his time with God as well as away from God, gives him a perspective on life that he really needs to share. And so this morning, it's important, I think, that everyone we lean in. We got to lean in, because the wisest man in the world is about to tell us the meaning of life. He's about to share it. And if somebody with that wisdom is about to share, I want to know what he has to say. And you're expecting something amazing, awesome, and beautiful. And what does he say? Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. And you're like, man, I paid good money for this seminar. I came to hear something. I was hoping for something more cheerful, more optimistic, more uplifting. I'm only like 32 years old, and you're telling me the rest of my life is just a meaningful, pitiful existence? Why bother? And Solomon says, hey, I know you're looking for cheerful, optimistic, and uplifting, but nope, I'm going to give you the reality of life. It's meaningless. It's utterly meaningless. What in the world is Solomon doing? And especially, what is he doing in chapter 1? I think Solomon is doing what the kids did, I think it was last year or somewhere around that time. There was this thing going around on the internet, in social media, called the Ice Bucket Challenge. How many of you did the Ice Bucket Challenge? Yeah, pretty good crew. So basically, the Ice Bucket Challenge was you ever so foolishly took cold water, you filled it with ice, you dumped it over your head, and then you challenged 5 of your friends to record it and do the same. I think I artfully avoided having to do that. I suspect somebody might have, included my name once or twice, but, during that time I was doing a social media fast. So I didn't have to do that because I hate cold water. I know, I grew up in Western New York, right? It's like polar there. I should love cold water. I remember early in life, my friends would be jumping in the pool. I'm sitting on the side, dangling the toesies, trying to get used to it. I can't stand cold water. I can't stand jumping into cold water. Can't stand cold water being put over me. I can't imagine taking a bucket of ice water and pouring it over my head. These people that do polar challenges, polar plunges, I know what would happen to me. We'd be celebrating Dennis's funeral the next day because my chest would seize and my heart would go, we're done, buddy. Boom, over. That kind of cold, I don't like it. And so when you come to chapter 1, he's going, boom. And immediately you're tensing up. You can feel it. You're trying to breathe. You're trying to catch your breath. All of that is going on because up until now, you've just been living life. You've been floating along. You've been having a good time because you've been living a life of let's pretend. You've been playing let's pretend. We live a life of let's pretend. That's what human beings do. Especially when we're younger, we live pretending our lives will never end. We just think we have endless days. And even as we get into 40, we go, 40, 80, I still got a lot. 50, 30, 60, 20, but still we're like, I'll beat the odds. I'll do okay. I got a 90-year-old dad. I'm going to be just fine, right? We live as if our life will never end. But then some reality starts to hit. We realize that we might go too. And so we pretend that if our lives do end, our impact will be so profound that we will be remembered forever. We will be memorialized. Everybody will remember our name. They'll still, 200 years from now, this church will gather and they'll still say, do you remember Misty Yost? We'll just remember these people forever. We'll be remembered. We'll be memorialized. Everybody will remember us. But Solomon, the wise truth teller, says it as it is. You're going to die. And once you die, you will be forgotten. Man, I should have gone to Village today, right? Are you kidding me? Really? Really? This is the message of the day? You're going to die, and after you die, nobody's going to remember that you exist? Solomon in this chapter doesn't just give you one bucket of cold water, he gives you 4. He just keeps going because he wants you to be breathless. He wants you to be shaken out of the land of pretend. Pretend is so fun, right? Emmett is he's almost 3. Pretend is where he lives. He just loves pretending, especially the whole hiding game. He loves pretending you can't see him. I think it was about a week ago, Brian's at the house, and he loves to play let's pretend you can't see me with Brian. So he gets behind Brian on the couch, and Brian will turn his head, and Emmett's face will be over here, and Emmett will bring his face over here, and he'll turn this way, and he'll be giggling and whatever, he'll be giggling, I can't see you, I can't find you, and then finally faces meet, and it's like, oh, there you are, it's so cool. That is so fun with a 3-year-old. You do that at 30, we're going to wonder. What is wrong with you, right? We do this. We live, let's pretend. We just live as if we're going to go on forever. We live as if we'll be remembered forever. No, you're going to die, and once you die, you'll be forgotten forever. Solomon shares 4 unsettling truths to shake us out of let's pretend. And the first is this: life is a mist. Life is a mist. We were already here, but you got to hear it again. This is that term that you see in the book, vanity, vanity, meaningless, meaningless. 33 times in 12 chapters, you better pay attention to that word. When a word is repeated that many times, he's trying to say something. You better pay attention to that word. In the New Living, in the New International Version, they use the word meaningless, meaningless, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. It's also translated in other places: vanity, meaningless, futile, pointless. But it's based on this Hebrew word that when transliterated as Hebel, but the B is pronounced like a V. So it's the word hevel, hevel. And when you look at hevel, the word means a mist, a vapor, a breath, or a puff of smoke. I shared a couple weeks ago that Emmett has a little game when he comes to my office. Not only does he like to get his chocolate, but he likes to light my candle. And he likes to sing happy birthday to whoever's had a birthday recently. So tomorrow we'll be singing happy birthday to Riley. And we'll have him fun with that. And then he loves to blow it out. And he always gets his face a little too close and always makes me a little nervous. And he blows it out. And then comes the smoke. And we grasp at the smoke. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Hevel, hevel. This was your assignment. I won't ask you to raise your hand if you did it, but hevel, hevel. You're trying to grasp the smoke. It's there, but you can't touch it. You can't grasp it. It's there. And then it's gone. Life is like a puff of smoke. Life is like a mist. Life is like a vapor. And we see this word used in other parts of the Old Testament. Psalm 39, verse 5. Behold, you made my days a few hands' breadth, and my lifetime is nothing before you. Surely all mankind will stand as a mere hevel. Surely a man goes about as a shadow, for surely nothing. Hevel. They are in turmoil. Man heaps up wealth and does not know who will gather it. He goes a little further in the chapter. When you discipline a man with rebukes for sin, you consume like a moth what is dear to him. Surely all mankind is merely hevel, just a breath and gone. And then he uses the word Selah, which means think on it. In other words, he says, just stew on that for a little bit. We want to race to the next verse. That was not fun. Stew on that for a little bit. Psalm 144:4, man is like a breath. It's like hevel. His days are like a passing shadow. What is he saying? Life is brief. He's also saying life is mysterious. It's hard to figure out. And when you figure it out, when you think you've got the answer, you realize that's not the answer. It's tough to figure out. And there's a sense of futility in some of the things we do. There's a sense of futility in our days. Life is short. Life is elusive. You see, when we play Let's Pretend, we try to find infinite meaning in temporary enjoyment. We think that all the temporal gifts from God are the things that are going to bring us happiness and fulfillment. And when they don't, we wonder why. We're playing Let's Pretend. We're trying to find enjoyment in a source that was never intended to be your source of joy. God was intended to be your source of joy. But we try to find joy in the hevel. We try to find joy in the smoke, in grasping what's there, and we cannot even grasp it. Solomon challenges us to refuse to replace God with the gifts of God. He says, the gifts are there. Enjoy the gifts, but don't make the gifts your God. Don't make the gifts your idol. The gifts are there so that you can enjoy the God of heaven and enjoy a relationship with Him. Life is a mist. Splash number one. And he brings over the next bucket, and you're like, are we going to do this again? Oh, yes, we are. Unsettling truth number 2, life is monotonous. It's monotonous. How can we talk about the monotony of life without a reference to Groundhog Day, right? This movie where this poor guy keeps waking up, and day after day after day, he relives the exact same existence. And there are times I know in our lives, especially when they're about 2.5, that every day feels like Groundhog Day. Didn't I already change this diaper? Didn't I already wipe this nose? And we do it again and again and again and again. And there's a monotony about our lives. Life is loaded with sameness. It's loaded with sameness. We are an evangelical church. We come from a free church tradition when it comes to worship. There are other churches that are more liturgical. And liturgical churches are guided by something that's known as the church calendar. It's not a different set of dates. It's the same dates, but movements throughout the year. Lent is part of the church calendar. Advent is part of the church calendar. You have these different seasons, different times of focus. If you take the church calendar and you put it in a pie chart, I always find this fascinating. The green area. There's more green area than anything else, and it is called ordinary time. Nothing special happening right now. The majority of life is lived in ordinary time. The majority of life is lived just like yesterday and just like tomorrow. So he starts giving these examples from nature. The sun rises and sets, sounds like a song, and hurries back to where it rises once again. He says, there's movement, but there's movement without arrival. It's not like the sun ever gets there and goes, I'm here, this is it. Boom, just keeps going and going and going. Just like our lives, there's movement, but that sense of, I'm not quite there yet. The sun chases its own tail, just keeps chasing and not quite getting there. Then he turns to the wind. The wind blows to the south, it turns to the north, round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. There's direction, but the direction lacks destination. It's just blowing for the sake of blowing. It's going all over the place, much like our lives. The streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, they will return again. We live in this place named Shanahan, beautiful Indian word for where the rivers meet. You have 3 great rivers that all come together at this location right here to form one amazing river, the Illinois River, that eventually flows into the Mississippi River, that eventually flows into the Gulf. All the way down it goes. And you know what's amazing? Sometimes these rivers are tremendously flooded. And they flow and flow and flow. And to date, that ocean has never totally, completely filled from just flowing rivers going to that place. There's a flow, there's evaporation. It just keeps going and going and going. There is constant flow, but the flow never fills. He's saying this is what life is like. God designed these rhythms in life. He designed them. And these rhythms serve as a metaphoric reminder of the nature of human existence. This is what human existence looks like. Right now, we're in fall again. And you're enjoying fall, but you're like, fall goes to winter and winter goes to spring. You're used to it. Life is loaded with sameness. To which he says, all things are wearisome, more than I can say. The eye never has enough seeing. The ear never enough hearing. I want more and I don't get it. It's just sameness all the way around. Life is loaded with sameness. While I move, I will never seem to arrive. While I take in, I never seem to be as full as I want to be. You're starting to dry off. You're starting to warm up. You're starting to feel a little better. And here he comes with bucket number 3. Life is never new. It's never new. You keep looking for the new thing. You think bright and shiny is going to finally make a difference. You keep looking for new, and new isn't there. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Last summer, as I was looking to fall, trying to figure out where we were going in teaching, I got to admit, I was a little stuck. I'm like, where do we go? What should we look at? What should we be reading? What's the study we need to undertake? And as I was going through this season of stuckness, I'm looking at Ecclesiastes in particular, and I came across this verse. And as I came across this verse, I had a revelation about my life as a preacher and as a teacher. I am not a creator. I am a curator. I don't create. I've never said anything new on a Sunday morning, ever. It's all been said. I take those things and put them in a different package for this room, but it's the same stuff all the time. Go to the commentaries, go to the teachers, look at this, look at that, bring it together. There's nothing new in what I'm saying. There's nothing new at all, and there's nothing new in anything that any preacher is saying around this world today. There's nothing new. I'm a creator. I'm a curator. I'm not a creator. Is there anything of which one can say, look, there's something new? It was already here long ago. It was here before our time. Now you look at that and you think to yourself, hold on a second, Solomon. I think you might be wrong on this one. You might have missed it on this one. Did Solomon have an iPhone? Indoor plumbing, electricity? Did he walk on the moon? Was AI around, this brilliant thing that keeps dialing my phone without me wanting to? Cars, computers, refrigeration, online banking, texting. This is all new stuff, isn't it, Solomon? Well, is it? Is it really new? Part of what he's saying is things move quickly from new to old to gone. When I was in seminary, pastor school, I had 2 jobs. One was being a manager, an assistant manager for the Daily Herald, making sure the newspapers got out from 2:30 to 7:30 in the morning, 7 days a week. That was a lot of fun. Person called in sick, I got to do their route, that kind of thing. I'm like, this is killing me. I need to be able to have a brain when I go to school. So there's a company in the area named Hewitt Associates. They put together benefits packages for companies. And they do great things, like they give out free meals to their employees and all this fun stuff. I found out there was an opening in their mailroom. And so I applied, and I got the job. And here's what I love. The job was in the evenings, and so there weren't a lot of people coming down to the mailroom. And they said, if there's nothing going on, you can study. So I was actually getting paid to study. This was fantastic. And one of the things that we had to do in the mailroom, we had to send out faxes. We had to send out, because of all the hundreds of employees that they had, the only room in the building that had a fax machine was the mailroom. There was not one anywhere else. And so we became the fax masters. We were the ones that knew how to send a fax, and then that waxy paper would come out every once in a while, and we'd have to go deliver a fax. It's not been that long. They're here. They're gone. My goodness, if you're still faxing, it's like, have you heard of a PDF? Have you heard of email? What in the world are you doing, man? Come on, get rid of that piece of junk. Move on to the next thing. I look at all these things that have been around in my lifetime. The old phone. My aunt actually had party line. You know, you'd pick up, somebody else would be on. You had, hey, would you mind getting off? I got to call someone. I mean, you had a pager. I actually had a pager for a while. Beep, 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 so you could stop at a payphone and find out what was going on. Records went to CDs. I loved cassettes. I actually was around during 8-tracks. That iPod, that thing was awesome. Typewriter. I was one of the last classes of college that actually typed papers on a typewriter. And then all the series of light bulbs. What's coming next in light bulbs? We have all these different things, right? I have a box at home. This is my old phones box. I love this box. Some of these I just can't part with. I have what I commonly call the Dave Pappish special. He still loves these things, right? The old texting on these was a blast. 45 minutes later, the cat. These were awesome. I love this little guy, the little Nokia. That thing. And it was by a company named Singular. I don't know where they were. I think that's a medicine now. I think this one was Brian's, right? Oh yeah, the Razor. I mean, just the name makes you feel so important and special. It's so cool. I love this. When the old BlackBerry, this thing. So texting was not illegal quite yet, right? I'd have that thing up on the wheel, texting away. And then I got good enough that I could text over here and drive and zing it off. And every once in a while I said the wrong thing. But overall, it was really cool. And then came along, where is it? Oh, yes, iPhone 1. The original 17 is but a child. Here's the original little wonderful iPhone 1. It's so cool. And guess what? Worthless, junk, unusable. These aren't from 1920, folks. These aren't that ancient. This is recent. He's saying things move quickly from new to old to gone. And you know what he's saying? We move quickly from new to old to gone. Boo. Ready to get cold one more time? Life is forgettable. Life is forgettable. No one remembers the former generations, even those yet to come. We will not be remembered by those who follow them. Do you know that guy? You know that guy? Look familiar? Who is he? Ronald Acuna. Nice try. I know, it's kind of hard to tell. That's okay. There's Ronald Acuna. And Ronald Acuna Jr., October 7th, 2018. He's involved in the National League Division Series against the Dodgers. He becomes the youngest player in Major League history to hit a grand slam. He's 20 years old and 293 days old. The previous record held by Mickey Mantle. That's right. Brian knows who Mickey Mantle is. Previous records held by Mickey Mantle. Set the record in 1953 at 21 years old. When asked after the game if he realized he broke Mickey Mantle's record, Acuna responded, roughly, "Mickey who?" And then to defend himself, he said, "I wasn't even born yet." "You're a baseball player. I know who Chuck Swindoll is. I mean, come on. You kidding me? Really? Come on." I'm afraid that if you asked him, "Who's Babe Ruth?" he'd say, "Isn't that the candy bar?" Right? This is like a baseball legend, a hero, and a prominent baseball player had no idea of his name. We think we'll be remembered. We move so quickly from new to old to gone. We move so quickly from new to old to gone to forgotten. Just forgotten. When we were in Israel, interesting experience. We went to a beautiful cemetery that's right there on the Mount of Olives overlooking Jerusalem. And when you're looking at all these beautiful, just gravestones, the entire crypt is up above the ground. And you're looking at them, and they're covered with stones. And I'm like, this is kind of disrespectful. Honestly, I wondered if, somebody, an enemy of Israel, was just littering or something like that. And I asked the guide about it, and they said, when a person comes and visits their relative, they leave a stone on the grave. And in that, I'm telling you what, I never had something so instantaneously change for me when I went from, why are people being disrespectful, to which graves don't have a stone? Who's been forgotten? Who's not being visited anymore? We go so quickly from new to old to gone to forgotten. And once again, I would just say that's depressing. That's depressing. But what if instead of being depressing, what if it was actually wise and freeing? What if instead of living to make a name for myself, there is a greater reason for living, something bigger? Playing Let's Pretend in a toddler is adorable. Playing Let's Pretend later in life is deplorable. There's something wrong with us. We need this cold water bath wake-up call. We need it. We need to wake from our slumber. We need to wake from our pretending. We need to ask ourselves questions. What are you doing? Who are you? What do you value? Why do you exist? How will you choose to find meaning in life? When in the world are you going to stop pretending? Solomon, in this book, will help us to see in the chapters to come the meaning of life. But we tend to look for meaning in all the wrong places. We tend to look for meaning in the temporal instead of the eternal. He wants to teach us how to live. He wants to teach us how to really live. We live a life of let's pretend. We pretend our lives will never end. We pretend our lives will go on, and if they don't, we will at least be remembered forever. I love this book. It's been so helpful. It's been going through Ecclesiastes. It's written by a man named David Gibson called Living Life Backward. And he spends a whole page talking about all the ways we live playing let's pretend, all the things that we do in order to be remembered and yet we're forgotten, all the ways that we're pretending instead of really living into what God desires for us. Well, if we won't live forever here on earth, or even make a lasting impact beyond our days, how should we really live? For one, wise people simply accept the fact that they're going to die. They accept it. They embrace it. There will be an end. Accepting death is the first step to learning how to live. It's the first step to learning how to live. There's a man named Douglas Wilson. He said, "A wise believer is a man who knows the length of his tether. Teach me to number my days so I may gain a heart of wisdom." It's interesting, as we go a little bit further into the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon is going to start to unfold that embracing God doesn't mean we have to reject good things. It doesn't mean that we have to push good things aside. He says we've got to get good things in their proper place. He says when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, I love that. God actually gives us the ability to enjoy the things He gives us, to accept their lot in life and be happy in their toil. This is a gift from God. He says they seldom reflect on the days of their lives because God keeps them occupied with gladness of heart. There comes a point that we start realizing that the gifts that we have been given are not to be worshiped, they're not to be cherished. They're actually tools to help us to connect with God. They're tools to help us to glorify God and to enjoy God more fully. So I was in seminary and taking homiletics. Homiletics is preaching classes. And a professor named David Larson. David Larson had one rule in his class. You could never use an example from Chariots of Fire. He says, I've heard so many Chariots of Fire's example. I'm sick of it. There are more examples out there. Please, no more Chariots of Fire. So I've not done this for 40 years, but here we are. Because after all, it was cross country yesterday. It's running season. I'm just so into this. You have this great story of Eric Liddell, a man who had tremendous abilities in racing. Tremendous abilities, and he gets to the Olympics, and you may know the story. He gets to the Olympics, the day he's supposed to race is a Sunday. He says, I keep the Sabbath, I'm not going to run. And he doesn't. It costs him, right? It costs him the ability to run on that particular day. And I love it because as he's explaining who he is and what he's all about, he says, I believe God made me for a purpose, but I believe he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. Do you get this? He didn't live his life thinking, I'm a runner, and I want to be remembered for the rest of my existence as a runner. He says, running actually helps me to connect with God. Running helps me to enjoy God more. His story goes on. He was born a son of missionaries to China. He goes back as a missionary to China. And while he's there, the Japanese attack China, and he ends up in a Japanese internment camp. And the stories that are told that while he's there, he was the one that did the most to serve and love everyone else. He didn't say, I'm Eric Liddell. I was in the Olympics. Worship me, praise me. Up until the day he died, and he died just weeks before the internment was done. Up until the day he died, he served others. He lived for others because he loved Jesus, and he wanted to make sure that people got a chance to have a relationship with God. Do you see how somebody could take tremendous giftedness, and instead of making the giftedness their God, they connected with God through the gift that God gave them? That's what Ecclesiastes is telling us. Stop spending your life chasing the gifts. Realize the gifts are actually the bridge to a greater connection with the God of heaven. He wants to show his love for you through the gifts so that you can actually connect with him more fully. We need to live with the end in mind. There will be an end. We need to live with the end in mind. And I pray that we would keep our attention there, God. Keep our attention on the fact that, yes, we are going to die. And when we die, we will not be remembered. So there must be something more to this life than this. There is an eternity to be embraced. There is a God in heaven who loves us, and he's given us these good gifts so that we can connect with him and enjoy him more fully. Thank you for your good gifts. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen. And so we turn communion today. And as we do, I want you to think through, we were talking last week about praying and using in the morning the Lord's Prayer as a guide that we all pray together. And as we do, we start with the words, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Our Father, a term of affection. I love you, Father, our Father. Term of affection. Hallowed be your name in heaven. A term of adoration. A term of, you are worthy. You're so much bigger than me, and I'm so grateful for who you are. As we walk to communion today, would you think about your Father? He is to be loved. He shows you great affection. Our Father, my Father. He is to be worshiped and cherished. Think about your Father. He gave you this life for a purpose. He gave you this life so that you can connect with him. As we walk, quiet music will be playing. And I just remind you again, it's not a time to talk. It's not a time to connect with friends. It's a time to connect with God. Spend the time in quiet, talking to him and listening to him. Let's go to communion.
Something isn't adding up. So I'd exchange you are for us. I gave my worst, you gave your blood. Seems hard to believe. You're telling me you chose the Christ. You're telling me I'm worth that much. Well, if that's the measure of your love, how else would I say? But complete, deep, sold out, sincerely abandoned. I'm complete, free, hands to the ceiling and ever. No one life endeavor to match your surrender to me, and I will be yours. Oh, I'm complete, deep, don't care who sees me abandoned. Oh, I surrender. I just can't get over it. How to self-control these things. That angels at your fingertips, off the cross to the dead. I can't repay that kind of love. Praise of everything I've got. Since you take that all this power off, then it cuts like a blade. Complete, deep, sold out, sincerely abandoned. Complete, free, hands to the ceiling and ever. I want life together to match your surrender to me, and I will be yours. Complete, deep, don't care who sees me abandoned. Oh, I surrender. I each phase of my life, each breath in my lungs, consider it yours, Lord. Consider it yours, Lord. The failures the victories I've won, the battles I've had, each crown that I hold, consider it yours, Lord. Consider it yours, Lord. All the glory forever. and He is everything I need. So I will not worry, I will not fear the enemy. He said that He loves me, He said that He's with me, even though I walk through the valley of shadow and death, and still I know He has good plans. He has good plans for me. So I will take heart in deserts and gardens. He has good plans. He has good plans for me. If I know my Father, I know my Father has good plans. The Lord is my Savior, so why should I doubt my victory? Why would I question the rod and the staff that comforts me? He quiets the waters, He quiets the storm inside of me. So what could be better than walking with Him when I believe He has good plans? He has good plans for me.
He truly does have good plans for every one of us. And part of our problem is we get so focused on here and now that we think all the good plans are about the 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 days, 100 years, whatever we think God is going to give us here, and then it's done. And yet his good plans for you and for me are eternal. They're eternal. I was spending time listening to a passage from the Gospels this morning, and it had that beautiful line, that phrase, Jesus went often alone by himself to pray. Often alone by himself to pray. And in that moment, I was caught by the fact that Jesus, he's around all these people, he's performing all these miracles, all these great things are going on, and yet for him still there was this moment that he'd have to say, I need to go connect with what is really real. I need to go connect with my Father. I need to be alone with him and no one else. He got it in a way that we just miss because we're so enamored with the toys in this life. We're so enamored with the activity, the fame we might achieve, that we miss the point that the good plan is him. The good plan is our relationship with him. The good plan is our connection with him. And so as you go into this week, take a little bit of a sobering moment to realize there are areas in our lives that we are playing let's pretend. And it's time to stop being a 2-year-old. It's time to start grasping the reality of this life and not living morbidly, not living in a depressed sort of way, but realizing it's actually waking us up to the truly good plans of God. We'll see you next week.